chapter 18, Malavaga, impurity. 213.5. Like a withered leaf are you now. Death's messengers are waiting for you. You stand on the eve of your departure, yet you have made no provision for your journey. 236. Make an island for yourself. Strive hard and become wise. Rid of impurities and cleansed of stain, you shall enter the celestial abode of the noble ones. So, all of us are like this withered leaf. Don't think you're young, that death is so far away, because graves have a lot of young people. So the Buddha says that we have cancer. A lot of people, when the doctor tells you that you have cancer, then you are very upset. Why are you upset? Because you are going to die. But you should know that everybody has to die. If you know that everybody has to die and you have to die, then you prepare for it. And if you are prepared, then any time death comes, you don't be so scared, won't be so disappointed. A lot of people, when they know they have cancer, they say, why me, why me? Why do you ask, why me? Everybody also has to die. Basically, we die not because we have cancer. We die because we are born. The fact that we are born means that we have to die. And the Buddha says all of us have cancer. Having cancer means you don't know when you are going to die. Even the doctor, when the doctor tells you that you have cancer, the doctor doesn't know when you are going to die. The only doctor can, the doctor can say only within 1 year or within 6 months. Then also is not sure. Some people, the doctor say within 1 year or within 6 months, that person lives another 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. So there's no certainty. So we have to prepare. We have to prepare as though death may come tomorrow. Don't be careless. If you're careless, then when death comes, you become very frightened, very disappointed. So here it says, make an island for yourself. Strive hard, make effort. Become wise by learning the Dhamma. Keep your sila. Sila is extremely important. People go to the woeful plains mainly because of sila, not keeping enough good sila. So when we keep sila, we get rid of our impurities. 237. Your life has come to an end now. You are setting forth into the presence of Yama, the king of death. No resting place is there for you on the way. Yet you have made no provision for your journey. 238. Make an island for yourself. Strive hard and become wise. Rid of impurities and cleanse of stain. You shall not come again to birth and decay. So we have to make provision for the journey. All of us one day will have to go on this journey in samsara. In fact, the Buddha says, we have been dying and taking rebirth, countless times. So many times, and yet we don't remember. So it's nothing new. So we should be more experienced. After being on samsara for so long, if we still don't prepare ourselves, we are a big fool. 239. One by one, little by little, moment by moment, a wise man should remove his own impurities, as a smith removes the dross of silver. So when we understand the Dhamma, we cultivate a skillful life. The skillful life means removing your unskillful actions, your unskillful habits, your unwholesome habits and actions. And then slowly you cultivate skillful or wholesome actions. Then you remove your impurities, like the smith removes the dross of silver. 240. Just as rust arising from iron eats away the base from which it has arisen, even so their own deeds lead transgressors to a state of woe. So when we do unwholesome deeds, it eats us away like the rust, and it will bring us to states of woe. 241. Non-repetition is the bane of scriptures. The bane means the curse, the cause of ruin. So non-repetition is the bane or curse of scriptures. Neglect is the bane of a home. Slovenliness is the bane of personal appearance. Heedlessness is the bane of a watchman. So when we learn the scriptures, the Dhamma, the Suttas, we should repeat it. During the Buddha's days, they had no books, so they had to repeat the Suttas constantly. But for us nowadays, we have the books, so you don't have to repeat, but you have to read them again and again. Or if you don't want to read them, then you listen to those CDs which contain the suttas. Like these Nikayas, we have 5 Nikayas in our Pali canon. These 5 collections of discourses of the Buddha. I've already spoken all of them in English. The first one I spoke was Anguttara Nikaya in the years 1997 and 1998. And then the next one was Sangyutta Nikaya in the year 209. And then after that, Majjhima Nikaya in the year 2010. And this year, 2011, I've completed the Digha Nikaya. And now we are completing the Khuddaka Nikaya. So all these Nikayas, all these suttas are available in English. So you just have to listen to them again and again and again and again. There's no end to listening to the suttas, because the more times we listen, the more we understand. Okay. 242. Unchastity is the taint in a woman. Niggardliness or stinginess is the taint in a giver. Taints indeed are evil things, both in this world and the next. 243. A worse taint than these is ignorance, the worst of all taints. Destroy this one taint and become stainless, O monks. This taint is a blemish, something that makes you dirty. So the worst stain in the world is ignorance. What is this ignorance? Ignorance means here the ignorance of the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings. Because if you understand the Buddha's teachings, you have entered the stream. In the Majjhima Nikaya, it is said to attain right view, only 2 conditions are required. One is the voice of another teaching you the Dhamma. And the second condition is proper attention. So when you listen to the Dhamma, you must pay proper attention. In that way you can understand the Dhamma. And when you have understood the Dhamma, you have attained the vision of the Dhamma, Dhammacakku. And that means you have entered the stream, you have become an Arya, the first path. And after some time, the first path will turn into the first fruit. The latest is by the time you die, you would have attained the first fruit, Sotapanna. In which case, you will never be reborn into the woeful plains. You will never be reborn as a ghost, or as an animal, or in hell. And then you are secure already, no more afraid of samsara. We read in the previous verse that better than becoming the king of the whole world, better than becoming the king in heaven is the attainment of stream entry. There's nothing more valuable in life we can get than to understand the Dhamma and attain stream entry and become an Arya. 244. Easy is life for the shameless one, who is as impudent as a crow, backbiting and forward, arrogant and corrupt. 245. Difficult is life for the modest one, who always seeks purity, who is detached and unassuming, clean in life and discerning. In the world, we find a lot of shameless people who are arrogant, backbiting, corrupt and all that. These people, it's easy, this verse says, it's easy to be like that. Why? Because those are our natural tendencies. Our natural tendency is towards greed, hatred and delusion. But to do the opposite, to be a modest person always looks inside of himself. He's ashamed to do unwholesome deeds. So because he's ashamed he has a sense of shame and he's afraid of wrongdoing. So he is always modest. Modest means not careless. Always holding back from doing evil. Because he's always seeking purity and detached and unassuming. This is difficult to do, and because it is difficult to do, it is meritorious. 246 to 247. One who destroys life, utters lies, takes what is not given, goes to another man's wife, and is addicted to intoxicating drinks. Such a man digs up his own root even in this very world. So if a person breaks all the 5 precepts, he digs up his own root. What do you mean by digging up your own root? That means you are killing yourself, doing the worst you can do. Because by breaking these 5 precepts, if a person has a habit of breaking these 5 precepts, is doomed to the woeful states of rebirth. 248. Know this, good man, those of evil character are uncontrolled. Let not greed and wickedness drag you to protracted misery. So the Buddha here says, people of evil character are uncontrolled. Uncontrolled means they give way to their tendencies, give way to their passions, give way to their emotions, give way to their weaknesses. Then they go for rebirth for a long time in misery. Protracted misery means a long time in misery. 249. People give according to their faith, according to their trust. If one becomes discontented with the food and drink given by others, one does not attain meditative absorption, either by day or by night. 250. But he in whom this discontent is fully destroyed, uprooted and extinct, he attains absorption, whether by day or by night. For a monk, because we beg for our food, or even if we don't beg for our food, we are dependent on lay people for our food. So we cannot be choosy about our food. If a person wants to be choosy about his food, he cannot wear the robes. He cannot become a monk. When we wear the robe, we already make a determination that we will not have money to use, that our priority is to practice a spiritual path. So if a monk is fussy about his food, then he cannot attain this meditative absorption. His mind cannot settle down because he's unhappy over this food, he's unhappy over that drink and all that. But if we are not fussy, then we are happy, and happiness can bring us into concentration. 251. There is no fire like lust. There is no grip like hatred. There is no net like delusion. There is no river like craving. When we have lust, it burns us like a fire. We are out of control. There is no grip like hatred. When we have hatred, it grips us and we do unwholesome actions for which we regret later. There's no net like delusion. We are caught in delusion like a net and hard to get out of it. No river like craving. Craving flows. If you allow your craving, you can easily crave for many things. 252. Easily seen are the faults of others, but one's own are difficult to see. Like chaff, one knows another's faults, but hides one's own, even as a crafty fowler hides behind sham branches. So a lot of people like that, we like to hide our faults, but we like to expose other people's faults. But we must always remember that we can never hide our faults. Why? Because even humans don't know. All the devas and devis will know your faults. All the ghosts will know your faults. 253. He who seeks another's faults, who is ever censorious, his asavas grow. He is far from the destruction of the asavas. So if we keep looking at other people's faults, our defilements, our uncontrolled mental outflows will be flowing non-stop. So we cannot destroy these outflows. 254. There is no track in the sky and no recluse outside. Humankind delights in worldliness, but the Buddhas are free from worldliness. 255. There is no track in the sky and no recluse outside. There are no volitions that is eternal. There is no volition that is eternal, and no instability in the Buddhas. So there is no recluse, no real recluse, no real monk outside the Buddha's teachings. That means the Noble Eightfold Path. Outside the Noble Eightfold Path, you cannot find an Arya. Worldly people delight in worldliness, but the Buddhas, the Arahants, are free from worldliness. These volitions, sankhara, are impermanent. Sabbe sankhara anicchati. This one, people like to say conditioned things, but my personal opinion, this word sankhara refers to volition, the exercise of the will. We notice in the Noble Eightfold Path, in the dependent 12 links of dependent origination, avijja paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya viññānaṁ, viññāna paccaya nama rupang. So because of ignorance, we have volitions. Volitions means exercising your will. And ultimately, it is the will to live. So because of ignorance, we always want this, we want that. We are moved by desires, so we exercise volition, exercise our will. And when we exercise our will, consciousness comes into being. And this consciousness has a counterpart. Vijnana always comes together with nama rupa. Vijnana is consciousness, and consciousness, when we have the sixth consciousness, we must always have an object of the sixth consciousness. So the object of the sixth consciousness is nama rupa, phenomena. And this object of the sixth consciousness has two parts. One is nama, which is mentality. The other is rupa, the physical, physicality or materiality. So this mentality and materiality, nama rupa, is basically the whole world, the whole universe. So when consciousness arises, then you are conscious of the whole world. And this whole world has two parts. One is the mental part, your mind, other people's mind, other beings' mind. That is the mental part. The physical part is the physical world. So when we exercise volition, volition creates the world. And because volition is this sankhara, volition is impermanent, the result of sankhara, the world, is even more impermanent. So, just like a shadow depends on so many conditions. A shadow depends on the sun, depends on the tree or a form. So, because the conditions for the shadow, the sun and the form are impermanent, so the shadow is even more impermanent. So the world depends on volition, So because volition is impermanent, then the world is even more impermanent. Everything in the world. So there are no volitions that are permanent, which means that nothing in the world is permanent. Now we come to chapter 19, Dhammapada Verses, concerning Dhamma, 256 to 257. Not by passing arbitrary judgments does one become just. A wise person who investigates both right and wrong, who does not judge others arbitrarily, but passes judgment impartially according to truth. A sagacious guardian of the law or of the Dhamma is called just. So when we judge, we investigate properly. We don't simply decide. Sometimes people like to judge other people based on short acquaintance. Sometimes even they hear what people say about somebody else and then they pass judgment. It's very dangerous. The Buddha says to know a person, you have to associate with a person for a long time. And then you have to be very sharp. You're very sharp at noticing things. Then only you know actually his real self, his heart. 258. One is not wise because one speaks much. One who is peaceable, friendly and fearless is called wise. So it's not always one who cakap is a wise person. 259. One who is not versed in the Dhamma because one speaks much. One who, after hearing even a little Dhamma, does not neglect it, but personally realizes its truth, is truly versed in the Dhamma. So just because you can quote the Dhamma, it doesn't mean you know much. But if you practice the Dhamma, you understand the Dhamma, then you really know the Dhamma. There's one sutta where the Buddha says, a speaker of Dhamma. What do you mean by a speaker of Dhamma? A speaker of Dhamma is one who talks about suffering, the origin of suffering, the ending of suffering, and the path leading to the ending of suffering. Sometimes some so-called Dhamma preachers, they like to tell stories, they like to tell jokes and all that. And people enjoy the talk because it's amusing. So if you go by what the Buddha says, that is not a Dhamma preacher. The Dhamma preacher is one who preaches the Dhamma for the ending of suffering. 260. A monk is not an elder because his head is grey. He is but ripe in age, and is called one grown old in vain. 261. One in whom there is truthfulness and virtue, inoffensiveness, restraint and self-mastery, who is free from defilements and vice. He is truly called an elder. So a Thera, an elder, is so called not because he is old, but because he is wise in the Dhamma, practices the Dhamma. 262. Not by mere eloquence, nor by bodily beauty, does a person become refined. Should he be jealous, selfish, and deceitful? 263. But he in whom these are wholly destroyed, uprooted and extinct, and who has cast out imperfection, that sagacious person is said to be refined. So a person considered to be refined has got rid of unwholesome habits and got rid of unwholesome conduct. 264. Not by shaven head does one who is undisciplined and untruthful become a recluse or samana. How can one who is full of desire and greed be a recluse? 265. One who wholly subdues evil, both small and great, is called a recluse because he has overcome all evil. So a person who wears the robe and is undisciplined is not fit to be called a monk because of his desire and greed and anger and hatred, and delusion. But if a monk he has overcome these unwholesome states, then he is truly a monk. 266. He is not a monk just because he lives on others' arms. Not by adopting outward form does one become a true monk. 267. But one here who lives the holy life and walks with understanding in this world, transcending both merit and demerit, he is truly called a monk. So a monk is not a monk because of the outward form, because he wears a robe, begs for his food and all that. But if he truly practices the way for liberation, a monk who is seriously practicing the way for liberation is not so much concerned with merit and demerit, but is practicing to end suffering. 268 to 269. Not by observing silence does one become a sage, if one is foolish and ignorant, but that wise person who, as if holding a balanced scale, accepts only the good and rejects the evil, he is truly a sage, since he comprehends both worlds, the present and the future. He is called a sage. So, a sage, a wise person, is one who practices the good and rejects evil or unwholesome conduct. 270. He is not a noble one who injures living beings. He is called a noble one because he is harmless towards all living beings. Person who practices the holy path should have a lot of loving kindness and not harm other beings. 271 to 272. Not with mere rules and observances, nor even with much learning, nor with the gain of absorption, nor with a life of seclusion, nor with thinking, I enjoy the bliss of renunciation, which is not experienced by the worldling. Should you rest content, O monks, as long as the utter destruction of the asavas has not been reached. So this verse is more for monks. Buddha says, even you practice the sila and the monastery observances, even if you know much Dhamma and you can attain jhana, that is still not enough. Buddha wants the monks to strive for the liberation, total liberation.